Welcome to your reading. Today, it looks like quite a long one from what I have in front of me. So get comfortable here, get your tea, get your snacks, get all your necessities, and come sit down with me. It looks like there is a conflict in emotion with who I'm channeling for. It's all over the place. I kind of have a feeling I'll be writing a novella in the description for you guys. So if you can't follow it all with me as I'm bouncing around here, be sure to check out the description. I'm weird, and that's how we do it here. We do it in the description. Okay. So let's just quickly assess who this is for so I don't waste anyone's time. These last 3 readings or so have been about this conflicting energy that is attached to my collective. It's just in different ways. And there's something that is distinct from you again today. It's present in this energy today too. It wants to be felt. It wants to be named. So I have your energy, and it's obvious it's yours. It's varying. It's hard to give one emotional name to. It's like you're fluctuating a lot at this time between different types of emotions. And then this separate thing to you, the one that needs to be known, is in what looks like a preparation state because they are undergoing some sort of intense life pivot at this time. And there's a lot here about why certain connections find you or what that reason is during transformational times in their life. So you could feel like you run into connections at transformational times. You may feel kind of uncertain about what the whole point of it is after it. You could feel unclear, like, why did I just go through all of that? Why did they find me during this? But there's a pattern here of continuously finding deep connections during transformational times. Big themes like moving, divorce, starting a new job. These are the times that you meet people or they meet you. And I sense there's kind of a low tolerance for repetition here, either with you or with them. Something here is like your guides are using repetition specifically is what it looks like, and you have a lower tolerance for it as a result. Anyway, this reading seems to involve what looks like the reasoning behind why these attachments form during transformational times for you, why they find you during those times, what the purpose is, why it's so deep. So it does seem to be like this reading is for the type of person who cannot do casual relationships, who cannot do surface level connections, or who has either an issue attaching or detaching to connections quickly. Like you are slow in either one of those or both. You also seem to only attach on very deep, profound levels, and it creates a lot of confusion about yourself as a result. Like, why do I do this when others don't? You can feel like it's perplexing because you're so strong and yet you're so weak in this one particular way because you form such deep attachments to other connections, deep bonds. And so this reading is very important for you. This is a very, very important reading for those that this resonates with because it's going to help clarify why this even happens in the first place and why it's not a weakness. It's very much intentional. It happens for a reason. It is for your highest good. So if that sounds anything like you, welcome to your reading. We're starting off here with a visualization to ground us together today. And oddly enough, it is a very specific one where someone is cutting you off in traffic. You're driving a car and you get cut off by someone. Just a ridiculously absurd cutoff. And it enrages you as a result from what I can feel and see here. This might be very literal for some. I don't know if this happened recently. I don't know if this is like your pet peeve, but there is heavy symbolism if it is not literal. The vision continues as it goes into what looks like you actively seeking this person out in traffic, only to find that they are impaired or disabled or there's something wrong in some way with them. And what you thought was like this active war crime against you was actually just incoherence or some sort of like direct issue that they had that almost displaces the blame once you see it clearly. And so you get to them. You find them out, you seek them out through rage. And then once you see them clearly and you see this clearly, your anger immediately fades. Okay. That's this visualization. And so it's showing me there's a lot here. You're working through very specific pain. You're working through people who have hurt you like this. Spirit is showing me that this is purposeful anger that you are meant to redirect inwards. And you might already know this, but you're meant to take that and transmute or heal inside. The anger is essential for that. Your guides are purposefully constructing what looks like these situations where someone cuts you off to be able to get this emotional reaction from you. Because your emotions are so powerful, specifically yours, they are healing tools that you otherwise would not have access to without these absurd situations where someone does something so profound to you. And so, this impaired person, on their side, what I see from this is they are acting completely in response to your field. It's not just that they're impaired or disabled necessarily. It's almost like your presence disorients them completely. So maybe disabled or impaired is a bad word, but in this situation, they wouldn't normally cut someone off, but they got so disoriented by you specifically. And so this is really, really layered. This is probably the strongest visualization I've ever got. But what it's showing me is you have a very profound effect on others. And you may not recognize this, but people disorganize themselves around you. They act in ways they don't normally. And it's showing specifically to me through work connections. That's coming up here as like kind of important. So that could happen to you a lot. Like people get weird at work. That's significant. I'm not sure why, but there's something specific about you creating disorder in other people. The High Priestess and Pluto here are definitely showing me you're what looks like a quiet force of knowing that disorients people. It's like you're just revealing the truth without doing anything forceful, and it leaves other people exposed and disoriented as a result. And what's interesting here is the person who cut you off, they're obviously acting from impulse because your field is like revealing a disorienting truth to them. But what's interesting is Pluto here is showing me it's just from presence or proximity, like just your being. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be outside of your car. You don't have to talk to them. It's just your energy, just existing as it is. It can happen driving, which is such an individual activity, right? There doesn't need to be an exchange. It's just you existing. And so part of this message seems to be what looks like a nervous system relational energy exchange. Like your attuned nervous system really destabilizes those who have not done inner healing work with their own nervous system. So I almost see you just existing pushes people around you to adjust. And it simply destabilizes them as a result. So why it's important you understand this, why am I talking about this so in depth, is like you have to be shown this trait because it's specific for yourself and others. It's almost connected to what looks like a new energy, a returning energy, something very much attached to you that's coming through in multiple readings now. It doesn't have to be old specifically. It doesn't have to be new. It's just someone that is tethered. This trait of yours, this ability to create disorder or destabilize others is important for you to fully understand, because as things return and they resurface, these connections and energies are going to rely on this. There's a connection here between the two in some very important way. Some of you might be what looks like dealing with immense sensitivity, especially lately. This could be physical sensitivity or emotional sensitivity. I see this perhaps being related to whatever is connected to you as well, if it is not coming directly from you. Just so you guys know, this is kind of important, is like when connections, tethered attachments, things like that come up in readings like this so much, is like it could be showing me a soulmate connection, which is someone you've never met, but that's not bound by the past or the future. It could also be someone obviously that you already know, an existing connection, but it could also be someone that you've never met, that you've just been attached to for lifetimes and many other lifetimes. So it doesn't have any bound by time or experience in this lifetime. They are simply just tethered to you. And so whoever this is, past, present, future, they could also be dealing with an immense sensitivity, but the lines are blurred between you and them at this time for me right now. So it's hard to kind of like tell. The sensitivity is showing up in two ways here. The first one is focusing on what's incomplete. So if it's you, if you're doing this, you could be focusing on things you haven't done yet, what you haven't said yet, what hasn't happened yet, a focus on all that exists that you haven't finished yet. Incomplete loops are at your forefront right now. And for this outer thing that's attached to you or tethered to you, they seem to be narrowing in on conversations specifically, or love connections that have not played out for them in the way that they thought they would. So that's the unfinished energy here, is like they had this goal in their mind, or they were reaching a age they thought something would happen for them and it's not complete yet. And that's kind of their focus. It just kind of feels communicational in a way. There's a lot of retrograde themes that are encompassing this. So it could be causing communicational disorientation or overthinking, negative overthinking. There's something here that's connected to you that I'll write more about. It's focused on subtext or communicational sensitivity. So I see you being what looks like very sensitive to unspoken words or implicit meaning. So these are the type of things that are not directly said. They're like invisible parts of language that a lot of people don't value. They don't think are real. Like in our society today, if it's not explicitly said, it doesn't exist, you know? So a lot of people operate on explicit conversations, say it directly, but you are very sensitive right now to invisible language. And it could be what looks like frustrating you here to some degree. And if it's not you, it's this tethered connection, but I do kind of see it more leaning towards you at this time. Overall, there's a lot here about a plan to resurface or approach you. I see this being because this new or future thing is going through a large pivot, a large life-altering shift here of some kind. Again, this could be like things that look like divorce, moving, new job, new identity crisis, things like that. Changing habits, things that are shifting if they had an addiction problem. There's a specific role you play in others' lives during these moments, during these threshold moments where they're going into a large change. And I think it's important that you might notice patterns of meeting people during these points, like that I just laid out, is like moving, starting a new job. There's some sort of like large transitional space that you meet deep connections in. And that's very important. Spirit wants you to hear that many times during this reading. You seem to appear for people directly during these destabilizing moments. And that is for a very important reason. I think in the next part, we have to talk about the reason why it's happening and why knowing this and knowing what's upcoming is going to be very important because of this. So if you made it this far, you probably know you are not meant for casual love, my dear. You are a deep, intense force. And I love that. Spirit and your guides want you to know that if you don't already know it, with which I see some of you have quite the awareness around it, but they want you to not only know that, but know why. And that's why today's message is so profound for you. These connections are drawn to you during these crossroad periods specifically. If it's a future connection, they will be entering a very destabilizing period, maybe a divorce, something that destabilizes their identity. If it's a past person, they are entering a life-altering moment they have not had with you yet and reach for you as a direct result, prepare something to reapproach you as a direct result. The reason this happens, like I mentioned at the beginning with the being cut off in traffic analogy, is like from a purely energetic standpoint, those in a destabilized state gravitate towards you because you pull in these types of connections. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually very good for you to do this. I'll explain why. It's basically like you reveal without force. You are acting as a quiet recalibrator. So in this instance, when someone is entering a destabilized period, you essentially act as this force that neutralizes them in a specific way. You're interacting with them, you're brought to them to basically transform them. And it creates what it looks like a very heavy bond as a result. And so you'll notice most of your connections are deep. They're deeply intertwined. They're difficult to let go of. They're intensely connected. It's because you're reaching surfaces of people, reaching layers of them that others cannot access in ordinary life outside of these transformational moments. And these transformational moments are small. They're not people's whole lives. They're a very small percentage of their lives that specifically intersect with you, your being, and meeting you. So you're specifically meant to find those who are destabilized. You're calling them in to connect with them on this layer that others can never reach because it transforms them. Your guides, their guides, very purposeful transformational placement here. So now you're probably wondering after I tell you all this, like, okay, am I just a tool for others to use and abuse? No, it's not that. You're kind of what looks like here in this higher state of knowing. You might not know that you are doing this. This might be unconscious, is like you just know how to reveal true character. So you almost purposefully, what looks like here, pull in, or your field does, those who are going through this at this specific time, at this specific window, to protect yourself from surface level connections. Because in surface level connections, or, the normal times people meet outside of transitional windows, is like they can hide themselves. They might not show their whole character. It's not as deep. You are actively seeking full transparency or nothing at all. At least your field is. And so that's why you're drawn to these types of people and they are drawn to you, is because they are unconsciously seeking to be transformed by you as a result. And so in other words, you're not being given people to fix like you're some kind of tool. You're actually calling in people. Your field is calling in these states of destabilization or people at specific crossroads, which are like a very rare intersect of people, because you can discern them quicker and see them for who they truly are right away during these moments in which you couldn't see them otherwise. It's kind of like you see past the bullshit, the dance, the performance. You want to go right into clearly seeing people, or you're not at all interested. And so that's why connections that look like they mean anything to you are started off in this destabilized transformational state. That's why you will continue to hold this pattern. It's actually your best interest to do so, even if it is unconscious and you don't realize that you are calling people in at these threshold moments. It's not a flaw. It's actually quite a strength. It's like you're working at a higher processing speed. You're not messing around with casual things. You know that they will waste your time if they aren't in these transformational periods, because in those other times, they're able to perform. They're able to pretend they're someone they're not. And in these transformational times, you actually can see them clearly, whether they want it or not. During these identity shift times, this is when you can clearly see a person. And so as a result, from that clarity, you are able to connect much deeper, much faster than most can even truly conceive. So if it's not clear by now, calling in past, present, future connections at these specific crossroad moments is protecting you. It is serving your highest good. It is stopping placeholder intimacy, where you perform, where you entertain people's ambiguous identities, and you remove those connections that you can't see fully. You are asking for people that are going through destabilizing situations so you can fully see the person in front of you and they aren't shielded by anything and they can't hide behind anything, and it makes the strongest bond as a result. And so I think the reason your guides want you to know this very clearly in this reading, want me to say it in many different ways, shapes, and sizes, is it's why a bond, a connection is taking a while. It's not going to happen quickly. You require a very specific threshold moment, and you are operating only on that level, on that very precise level. So you're calling in only energy that happens on that level, which is not common, to protect yourself. And so it doesn't mean it's not coming. It just means it's taking a long time because of how you operate. And if something came quickly, you wouldn't want it. You want to see the entire person. And so you need a very specific point in someone's life to be able to see that. And so your guides are kind of what looks like teaching you that patience is necessary for you specifically, learning it. Because if you don't have patience, you're going to keep seeing these performative connections that you will reject openly. You're really waiting for this like rare 1% of a person that comes at a very rare time in their life. And that's your message, I think. Okay, so I'm recording this, but I don't know if I'm actually going to use it. We will see how I feel when I'm editing. But oh my God, here is a potential salt talks. For those of you who are genuinely confused, like, weren't we just in a reading? Yes, this is kind of like a weird space I created a while back to talk to you all casually. It has no rhyme or reason. It's just basically like me commenting back to you, but I'm making it much more difficult. Think of it as me hanging out with you, okay? So if you want to stay, you can most certainly stay. I would love to have you, but if you want to leave, you most certainly can leave. But just know that you are loved with whatever you decide. You know, more people are coming now after I did that whole clearing of the audience where I told like half my audience to just get out. And it's just funny because like when more people come, the most common thing I get when people come and find my channel is they will comment, is this AI? This is AI. Guys, she's AI. Guys, you're all being tricked. She's AI. And I thought we were past all of that. I thought that we were past all of that. I made this beautiful animation for you all. And I just want you to know that I don't think AI could mess things up like me. I don't think AI would have, well, actually, that's not true. AI messes up a lot, huh? It's just silly at this point, though. I kind of just giggle every time I see it. I don't really have anything planned, you know, I never do. I never did, but I just kind of wanted to hang out for a second and tell you all that I love you. I think what happened before I stopped these, right? Because I was doing them regularly. For those who don't know, it was taking a lot of like energy on my end, invisible energy, to put myself out there transparently like that as a reader who picks up on communicational energy. And I think I got burnt out by the imbalance in the exchange in that way. And so that's why I kind of had to take a step back for this one. And it definitely helped, but I want to keep doing it. And so I'm here, persistent and stubborn. Maybe it'll be monthly. I don't know. I still need to address probably some of the things you guys ask me a lot. I'm still working through a list of what's priority, what's important. But basically, I came today with like I guess a thought that I've been having that's been in the back of my brain for a little bit now is like, I wanted to create a resource for you because some of the questions you guys ask are very loaded questions. Like you'll ask me, how do I talk to source, my guide, spirit better? And that's not something I can just like explain in assault talks, I don't think. I'm even having a hard time thinking of ideas for video content. Like how would that even become a video? What would that look like? Would that be like instructional? So I just wanted to kind of take this moment, this opportunity to ask you guys what you want. What do you wish you had? If you had anything from me, what would it be? I am working on a cute little deck for you all, not just like a standard tarot, but more of like how I read, which is going to be weird and absurd. And I think some of you would like that. And I don't know if everybody would, but maybe. But I just kind of wanted to ask you because sometimes, you know, I can't just make assumptions from feeling the energy. I have to kind of like directly ask your brains what you wish you had, what you don't care about. Just let me know. Like if I gave you guys stuff, would you like it? Would it be weird? Let me know. Other than that, I think that's a good one thing to talk about. I don't want to get too crazy, but maybe once a month I'll get on here and I'll answer some questions and I'll tell you guys I love you, but it'll be a whole salt talk section. It won't just be a goodbye, love you. It'll be like, I say it for a whole section. Anyway, one last thing. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy that you sat through this and Assault Talks. Wow, you're really a diehard here. If you're new here, the way in which I'm able to channel so specifically is because of communicational energy. If you haven't noticed, I am a little bit insane about how I protect it, right? I don't know if that really exists in other spaces. I haven't really explored outside of this one, but the way in which I'm able to channel efficiently is through an energy exchange where you nudge me, comments, things like that help me sort through what energy needs to go out and what messages need to go out. So keep commenting, keep nudging me. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could literally just be an emoji, a period, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. And that's it. I love you guys immensely. Cheers, friends.